regardless of if you started your film with a hook, the next thing you're going to want to do, or your first thing, is going to be to establish the world of your hero, okay, or your heroine. So when you're confronted with the blank page, just think your first 10 pages you can devote to just exploring the day-to-day life of that individual, okay? That can be done in a number of ways. When you go to write, don't be thinking about the budget of the film, just write the thing you want to write. But if you're thinking that this is a film that you're going to want to make on a tight budget, there are ways to introduce your characters that, as you will see in these 3 examples, are very budget friendly, but very effective. The bare bones, we'll talk about what the bare bones of what you need to achieve in this step of the story is, and if you are Ridley Scott filming Gladiator, how far you can take this introductory sequence.
Nailed it.
Okay, so the first film that we're going to talk about is Ocean's 11. Now this one is the budget version of this step in the story-making process, okay? The film literally begins, there's no hook. It literally begins cold with an empty room, and George Clooney's character sits into frame, and we don't even need to see the other characters who are interviewing him. We just need to get information. So a lot of the time when you're writing, you need to think, how can we get information to our viewer without it feeling like an info dump, okay? But the introductory sequence of Ocean's 11 is a situation in which an info dump makes sense in the real world. So let's watch the clip and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So I should note that before this happened, with the logos of the various production companies that came in, we heard that he was distinctly in a prison.
Daniel Ocean.
Thank you. Mr. Ocean, the purpose of this hearing is to determine whether, if released, you are likely to break the law again. While this was your first conviction, you have been implicated, though never charged.
So here, we don't even see the person who's interviewing him.
What can you tell us about this?
As you say, ma'am, I was never charged.
Mr. Ocean, what we're trying to find out is...
So another example for this could be a job interview.
This crime, or was there
Think of what can I do that just puts a person
My wife
in a
left
chair
me.
and asks
I was
them
upset.
questions.
I got into
Job
a
interview,
self-destructive
parent-teacher
pattern.
interviews, bail hearing.
Released. Is it likely you'd fall back into a similar pattern?
She already left me once. I don't think she'd do it again just for kicks.
Mr. Ocean, what do you think you would do if released?
And that in itself is the hook. That's the hook. The hook came after the introduction of the character. The hook is, what would you do if released? Now we want to know, what would you do if released? Okay, so now we've learned so much about this guy in 4 shots. Okay, I'll stop this one here. Oh, and we see he's in a tuxedo. This is a well-groomed man. Probably had some money, some status. Okay, there we go. Last Samurai is another great example of an introductory sequence where we need to discover our lead character. It's somewhere in between Ocean's 11 and the introductory sequence of Gladiator. There's a bit more of a budget, there's more actors, there's more going on, but it very efficiently introduces our character in a scene where an info dump makes sense. So let's watch the clip and we'll talk about it. All right, so here we are watching the opening scene from The Last Samurai.
Ladies and gentlemen, Winchester, America's
Okay,
leader of
obviously the
all
first thing that we
armies,
see
by the United
is our
States
hero.
Army, celebrates
We see that he's
our
clearly
nation's
melancholic. He's
centennial by
surrounded
bringing
by
a true
American flags. Oh, okay, drinking. Yes,
one
that
of the
makes
most
sense.
decorated warriors this country has ever known. Winner of the
And
Medal
in the
of Honor
background,
for
look,
his gallantry on the hallowed ground of Gettysburg. He is late.
this is the
of
info
the
dump
7th
that I was just
Cavalry
talking about.
And that triumphant campaign against the most savage of the Indian nations. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Captain Nate
Okay,
Aldridge.
so already in half a page probably, we already know so much about our lead character, who is a captain, clearly has some kind of PTSD from what he did, having to do with the Cheyenne, the atrocities that he went through. We see that there is a history of friction with him and his employer.
God damn you, Ogren. Get out there. This is your last performance. You're fired. Now get out there. Come on. I'm sick of this. Come on. Yes!
Thanks, Mr. McCabe. You are too kind.
We also get this sense that this man is very much out of his comfort zone.
Is the gun that's winning the West. Why, many's a time I found myself surrounded by a swarm
So, you could write the opening scene of this with our hero just walking down the street and try and have him encounter things that will reveal things about his character, but what better way to get information about our character than to have him do a performance where he's reading out about his life and his experience.
And there'd be a balder man standing before you today. Like those poor bastards out there on the Little Bighorn. Bodies stripped bare. Mutilated. Left to rot in the sun.
And so we're also going to learn that this man is a very experienced fighter, very skilled.
1 round per second. Son, have you ever seen what this could do to a man? This would blow a hole in your daddy 6 inches wide. That's right, Missy. This beauty. You could kill yourself 5, 6, 7 braves without ever having to reload. Note the patented loading port. And the smooth cocking action. My thanks on behalf of those who died in the name of better mechanical amusements and commercial opportunities. Mr. McCabe here will take your orders.
So what we've learned here as well
God bless you
is that this man is clearly feels a sense of, he doesn't feel well within his own country. There's an element of shame. We've understood by his last sentence that this has to do with commercial opportunities. Gladiator, I might make a whole video just about that film and the difference between the final film and the original screenplay. But today I want to talk about Gladiator's introductory sequence and how we establish Maximus as a general of the Roman army. It is done very efficiently. It is done in a very dynamic way with amazing cinematography and action, but it achieves its goal. It is done at a much higher budget than both Last Samurai and Ocean's 11, but it achieves the same end. Okay, so now we got the hook to our film here. We hear kids playing. What's going on? Okay. What do when you want to introduce your character? You start on a close-up of him. He's wearing armor. We can already tell that this guy's a soldier of some kind. He misses home. He misses something. He misses a warmer place. Would just an ordinary killer take the time to see a bird and smile at it? I don't think so. This guy's got a heart, but he's steeling himself for the battle to come. Okay, opening scene. Very clear. This is a war zone. Good. Okay, we already know so much. Now, I want you to think about, for the next 5-10 minutes, I want you to think that everything we're seeing is about introducing the world that we're in. Okay, who's this guy? This guy's behind. These guys are wearing different clothing. He's safe. Look at the respect that this man receives. People acknowledge him. They smile at him. People who are battle-hardened. Look at that. This guy gets the respect of the toughest guy around. And he shows respect back. This is all to contrast with the villain of our story, who's played by Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, now, this conversation is very interesting.
Lean and hungry. Still love him?
Not a sign.
How long has he been gone?
Nearly 2 hours. Will they fight, son?
Shall know soon enough.
Soldier! I ordered you to move those catapults forward. They're out of range.
Range is good.
A danger to the cavalry.
Is acceptable.
So what we've learnt there is that this man has a tactical sense that is more specific than his counterpart. This guy's in charge, and he is willing to put himself in harm's way as being part of the cavalry. Okay, this guy's not afraid to lead by example, and he's a tactician.
People should know when they're conquered.
Would you, Quintus? Would I?
We also learn that this man has respect for his opponent. He's in touch with the earth. He has the respect of the animals. It's all purposeful. And then you literally just put words in their mouths. Strength and honor. That's what they represent. Just have them say the words. Strength and honor.
At my signal, unleash hell.
And that's enough of that. That's all we needed to see. Hope that made sense. Look, everyone stands. Everyone stands as he goes. This guy is a soldier, has the respect of his soldiers. And now we see this whole battle sequence where we see him fight and we see how good of a fighter he is, very capable, etc. Okay?